Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we have an extraordinary guest with us. Her name is Debbi Sluys, and she's the founder and creator behind the Dare to Declare Vision Board Academy. So if you've ever dreamed of turning your coaching or training business into a powerhouse that attracts and retains clients with ease, Debbi has created a roadmap. Through her unique program, the Dare to Declare Academy, Debbi helps coaches become certified vision board trainers, and she provides every asset, template, and really just a proven method for those of you who want to lead transformative vision board experiences in both live and virtual settings while building a sustainable business. So welcome to the show, Debbi.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Yeah, can you just tell us, I met you, gosh, it's probably been almost 2 years ago now at a mastermind, and we were there, and you were just so different from all the other people, and you had this vision board thing going, and you were just crushing it. And to see where you've gone, even today, it's just you've 10x what you're doing. Can you kind of just tell us where you started from? Because it's not like you've been doing this your entire life. You kind of had a normal career before finding this out. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you transition to where you are today?
Sure. Yeah. I started out in childcare, which feels maybe really different from coaching and vision boards. Like, how does that fit? But if you think about the idea of play and how, as children learn best through play, through exploration, through hypothesizing, through inviting other people to join into their play. It's just an extension. Vision boards is such a playful, fun activity. And so I was not working in my role for most of my years as an early child educator, but more as a leader, director. I ran a multi-site not-for-profit organization. So my role was to support my employees through their personal and professional development. And what I recognized was most of the women in my employ, many of them, I'd say most, really lacked the understanding of how they got there. Like they kind of defaulted into childcare. Like, you don't know what to do with your life? Well, you're probably good with kids, so maybe you should do that. Well, that's a really terrible recipe for finding your lifetime career.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, it caused stress and anxiety and dissatisfaction. And I just wasn't retaining and attracting the best employees with that kind of default. So I started coaching in my role as a childcare director. We also in my role, we led this new movement around play-based learning for children. So I was starting to speak on large stages in front of like 450 people, sharing childcare curriculum. And I thought, well, this is really cool. So I felt this inner nudge that I was meant for something bigger. And so I started to search, and I was online, and I discovered vision boards. There was a lady that was doing them as a business, and I thought, well, that's really cool. But she was really focused on the business of it, but not so much on the content. And I thought, well, that's not going to sustain itself if you're just offering a collage night, like a paint night. That doesn't light me up. I need to, if I'm going to sell something, I need to believe in it. Really need to understand it. So I started to research, and I found Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Success Principles, godfather of vision boards. And I was like, listening to everything that he had to say, and was really inspired by the idea and the simplicity of the fact of making vision boards my business. And so I created curriculum. I created a studio, an in-person studio, which was a boutique, beautiful space. And I hung my shingle, opened up shop in 2018.
Wow. And so you start in 2018. You're kind of this, and it's probably pretty new for you at the time. What happens after that? Is an instant success? Where does that take your coaching business to how it is today? Because like I said, you're blowing up today. Can you talk a little bit about that transition to not where you are now?
Sure, yeah. So no, it was, I don't know if other entrepreneurs can relate to this, but I expected that as soon as my website, I remember, pressing the button and my website going live and like, wow, 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 like waiting for like the droves of people to come and want my services. And, and I remember it was like crickets. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, there's more to this. I need to market. I need to, what? And so, really honed my craft for 2 years around marketing, getting my message really clear, discovering who it is that I really wanted to work with. And then I decided to give my notice. So at this time, I was still working at the childcare and doing vision boards on the weekends and taking vacation days and so forth. And I decided to give my notice to my board of directors. I gave them 6 months. And during that time, the pandemic hit. And I had my own moment. Like, I just quit my job because not for profit, at least in Ontario, Canada, you don't have a pension. And so I had no plan B, which was probably the best thing because God was just like, nope, you're moving forward. And so, but I had a choice. I could have gone and asked for my job back, but as Jack teaches, the E plus R equals O. The event was COVID. The outcome could have been like, oh man, I need to just go ask for my job back. But instead, what I did was I created an online workshop, and that online workshop was centered around something that was carrying me through those 6 months. And I had chosen a word for my year, and my word that year was generous. And anytime the health unit, parents, the employees were like, what's going on, Deb? What's going on with this pandemic? What's happening with your retirement? I would think, what would my most generous self do? How would she show up in this moment? And it just helped me reset my mindset and also then obviously my outcome. So I did retire. Things were set. They opened the childcare the day after I left on July 1st of that year. And what happened was I created this online workshop and I had 65 people register. I created 10 paying clients and I was like, okay, there's something to this. And I started to get feedback from around the world, the UK, Ireland, Africa, that nobody was offering Vision Board, the curriculum, the methodology that I was, in the way that it tied into science, it tied into my Christian beliefs, into spirituality, it tied into leading research. So I was like, that's interesting. I mean, I just, again, created it based on what I was learning from Jack and from the success principles, and then pulling from my background in play-based learning. And so then I had other coaches asking me if they could use my vision boards as part of their program, because everyone talks about imagination. I mean, it's even 101 sales. Like, you don't create a sale unless you create what people like, what the outcome is for people by using your product. Like, you imagination's embedded in the very first conversation that you have with people. And then certainly with coaching, but I mean, car salespeople, realtors, financial planners, so many people could use vision boards. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting feedback. So I did what any person who's still on their personal development journey would do. I looked for evidence that somebody else was already doing it. And I researched to see, there's got to be someone else, because I, had that imposter, like, me, really, me? And there wasn't. And there wasn't anyone else doing it. So I decided, yes, I'm going to do this. So I hired an expert course content creator. And it's entirely different to teach vision boards and then to teach someone else to teach vision boards. So that was a real big, the next big stretch for me in my career was to create this academy where I could train trainers. But as you said, it's really become my legacy business, and it brings me so much joy.
It's been so cool to watch you grow too. And so let's talk more specifically actually about this academy that you've built. What I specifically love about this is that it's so unique and kind of different from anything I've really ever seen, so it doesn't matter really if you're like a beginning coach or if you're established. Like you said, like, everyone needs a vision. If you ask most people, they're like, I don't know what my vision is, so it doesn't matter, like I said, if you're starting fresh or you're an established coach. There's so many different ways that you can use this, and you do it in so many different ways too. Very different than what, like you said, it's not a collage night. Okay, it's much deeper when you go into it, and I think people need to experience that to really get the full grasp of what you do. But talk a little bit about how adding vision boards to your business is such a powerful way to grow, especially like if you're that coach or consulting in that transformation space.
So it is a head turner. People are familiar with vision boards, but very few know how to do it in a way that is connected to what people are doing with their coaching. So the way that it can support is, like you alluded to, it can be your main business to start off. So if you are like, you know what, I want to make an impact in the world. I want to make a difference. I want to spread hope. I want to have people have a radical transformation, then vision boards is your tool. And it's a great place to start. And with my academy, you receive what I talked about, that power word, that one that I made during COVID, is sort of a Hail Mary, like that little workshop is embedded into the academy. And I give that at conferences, I do it at lunch and learns. I offer it as a lead magnet for free. I'm giving it a couple of times actually into different groups in December. So it can be very lucrative, but it's also a really great offering. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I gave it at a health and safety municipal vendor. So I had men and women. I had guys in their orange vests sitting down at the table creating their power word. It was so cool. So it's a really great introduction into coaching. I don't know if you've ever had this as a coach, but you start to talk about mindset transformation and people kind of glaze over, like, what are you talking about? It doesn't connect to life. But if you can talk about creating a single word for your year, that when you're having one of those days and it's like, there's no gas in the tank, your milk ran out in the fridge, you're having a fight with your spouse, is you're like, and then you remember, this is my word. This is who I choose to be. So it helps you get into that R, which is the responsibility, which is your response. Amazing. It's like a life preserver. So that is just a really powerful little tool that will help you in a lead magnet. But the full vision board experience, you can position that in so many different ways. You can have it as the start of your program because everyone needs a vision. Every coach, that whether you're a grief coach, teen coach, working with divorcees, working with couples, everyone needs to have where they headed. And then from there, you can chunk it off to be like goals, so chunking it down, that you've got a whole coaching plan that you're going to work off of that vision board that you and your client created together, and then work on that together in a coaching program. You can do it as a group program. So it can fit in as a beginner, but as you said, I've had coaches that are 20 years in that are using the vision board in that way. And it can also be a VIP day. It's really a beautiful tool to be used for retreats, for a high ticket offer. I have one client, he's a physician, and he messaged me. He's actually from Ireland, and he said, Deb, he said, I have a problem. Too many people want my vision board, and because he has a coaching program. And I said, well, dangle the carrot, tell them that, because what he wants is he wants them to be healthy so that they don't need his services as a physician. This is his whole premise, his holistic practice. And so that's what he's done, is like, it's really like, take this coaching program for healthy living, and then you get my vision board experience.
Mm-hmm. And you do more to, I mean, so you just alluded to kind of that one, there's a power word workshop, but there's a lot more in the academy, right? I mean, like you said, and people, all your students, I've heard of everything from, 1 days to online workshops to, out of the country retreats. There's a lot of different ways that once you learn the framework, you can teach it. You know, let's get into like, what does it look like when somebody gets into the academy, right? And I know you're really big on getting people results. And so let's look at like what actually is in the academy, because it's essentially, if correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a business in a box. It's almost like, I know you provide like what to say, emails, templates. I mean, the whole thing, so that when someone jumps in, they're ready to take action on day one. Because most coaching programs out there, they got to go through, 12 weeks or 6 months of training before they can ever start. But with you, you're like, no, I want you day one hitting the ground, getting clients. So let's talk about what's actually inside the academy and what that looks like when people enroll.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've taken the best of my own training experiences and some of the worst. And some of the things I don't like are, like you said, where I don't have tangible results. Like, I want to be able to take a tool and plug it and play it. And so that's what we've created, is that you've got as I said, the power words. So you actually get a slide deck. And you've given me this term, Jared, about white label. So it's white labeled, and that you can completely dissolve the Dare to Declare brand into your own program. So it doesn't need to have any resemblance to back to Dare to Declare, unless you want to. Some of my clients like to have that connection to our brand, but it certainly can just melt right into your current offering. So, and that's where you get to position it. And then the full vision board experience is the 6-hour vision board experience that we go through. Now, that's what I use as the staple for the academy training. So when you come in on day one, uh, you're gonna meet the other students, because that's a really big piece too. And what we know from science is that you're 95% more likely to manifest with accountability. So we definitely want to build in that community and accountability for you, knowing that that's going to also support your success. And what's, so I'll talk a little bit more about that accountability piece, but that's another part that I've included in there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have your own vision board experience. So I don't want you to sell something that you haven't experienced yourself. That just doesn't feel right in my integrity. And so for two reasons. One, I want you to have a really clear direction on what's your business look like using vision boards. So even if you had a vision and created a vision board even a few months prior, this is going to be new and different now that you've added this tool to your business. So you're going to want a new vision with the vision board as part of that new vision. So I'm going to support you with that. So walk you through. So for the first 3 sessions, and actually we double up calls for those first 2 weeks just to make sure that you get that vision board piece in. I'm going to talk to you as a client, not as a student. And so I want you to feel all the feels, the stretch of having to dream that big, of putting things on the board that you don't know the how, of doing all the protocols, of not having a collage on your board, but being very intentional about the images that you choose, that it not just be focused in one area like business, but that it represent all areas of your life. So really stretching you, just like you'd be stretching your clients, so that you have that full immersive experience of using the vision board tool, and having me coach you through that. Then the next 5 weeks after that you're going to get training that is going to be sent to your email. It's about an hour and a half that you can watch at your leisure. Most of my students watch it multiple times before the next class. And I call this a community of practice. This is going back to my early years days, when this is how I like to do the adult training there, where I don't want to spend my live time with you in instruction, lecturing. I want you to play with the material so that you can learn about it, learn about the science around it, the methodology, the marketing, the coaching, all the aspects of how to offer it online and in person. And then come and we also give you a workbook every week to fill out. Come with that workbook, which is going to generate really beautiful, meaningful conversations. You're going to hear conversations from your fellow students as well, so that you can implement it and take that material and plug it right into your own business, so that, like Jared said, when you graduate at the end of 6 weeks, you can hit the ground running. I've had clients graduate on a Thursday and have paying clients using the tool on the Friday. It's that doable. One of the requirements of the certification is that you offer a vision board experience to clients, have proof of it, and then you receive the certification from me. And I'm going to be with you every step of the way. So I always say, like, I'm 5'2", like, you're going to have me in your back pocket, like, and I'll kick your ass if you let me. So, I mean, you invested in this program, you invested the time, you invested the money. So I'm there for you. And like Jared said, there's a whole portal of resources. In addition to that, there's templates. Jared actually worked with me last summer. We've got some beautiful social media content that's directly tied into vision boards that is going to be so easy for you to create those leads that are going to be coming to you easily to be able, and who will want to have that vision board experience with you.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to acknowledge you for a second too, because you're one of the, I work with a lot of people in the transformation space, and usually what happens is, like, somebody succeeded and then they kind of leave at whatever they were good at, and then they want to teach it to people, but they don't stay in the industry. Right. And so you're somebody who, like you said, you are still out there every single day, like, doing it. Right. So there's no, like, somebody that's like, well, this used to work. Like, no, I've seen you. And especially on your social media, it's like, you're at this conference and then you're teaching it there, and then you have this. And so, like, if people say, like, oh, I can't do this, you're like, no, you're doing that, and that's a large focus of your time. It's still actively running the business. So just wanted to acknowledge that, because it's very rare in the training world.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that makes it feels in my integrity to do that. And the beautiful thing is, I keep discovering new ways that this tool can be used. And I get to share that every month. I have an open mastermind call with the graduates. So current students can attend as well as past graduates. And I have graduates from 3.5 years ago who are still coming to the calls because they love this community. So instead of it, this was one of the things I noticed in my past coaching programs was, when my investment was up, then my contact with that community was ended as well, unless I made something outside myself in terms of a mastermind. And so I felt that and then my results would dip. And so what we've done is, instead of the community rolling over with cohorts, it's just growing. And so you still have access, and that is not an additional investment. It's not an additional membership. It's part of the offer that you can come to these coaching calls. And because I am still plugged into doing them myself, I'm now offering retreats globally, and in different areas. Like this summer, I offered the power word as part of a wedding shower,
Wow.
and it went over so amazing. That's a whole other industry that vision boards could be used for: bachelorette parties, for wedding showers, for couples, for the mother and the daughter. I actually have a product in there called Vow to Vision, where you can create a vision for your wedding day. So there's just so many applications of it. And yeah, I love doing it. So yeah, I have different arms in this company, but I have to say the one that lights me up the most is definitely the Academy. I love when I can see my clients succeeding and using this tool and offering transformation and getting radical results with their clients.
Well, that's so cool. So I'm sure there's probably some people out there watching around that are excited about this. Basically, where do they go to get in touch with you and kind of learn more if they are interested in either joining the academy or just kind of getting to know about you and your work?
The easiest is my website. And so it's a one stop shop. You just go, and it's my name, which is just with an I, Debbi, Sluys, Sluys.com. And head there, and there's drop downs, easy to navigate. On the front page, there's my calendar, so you can pop in there. I'd love to have a conversation with you to see if this is a good fit for your business, your vision, for your very best life.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Debbi, and being on. And I can't wait to see where you take the Vision Board Academy.
Thank you.